Zombie Night was released in 2013, and it is a made-for-TV zombie flick, which was created by the Asylum, which is somehow connected to sci-fi. I don't know exactly how, but they're in the same umbrella of things for film production, and everybody knows them as making really heavily CGI'd, really heavily green screened TV films, your Sharknadoes and all that fun stuff. This is actually a bad zombie film that I actually have a lot of guilty pleasure for. It is absolutely filled with CGI and with green screen galore. On the back of it, it doesn't even say who says this, but it's considered an old school zombie masterpiece. Masterpiece is one hell of a stretch, but there's definitely a lot of fun elements and like classic I'm not gonna say tropes, but just the feel of a zombie movie. It's pretty packed with that, where you can kind of forgive all the green screen and the CGI and the semi terrible acting, and you could just enjoy it as a classic zombie feel kind of thing. It feels like a modern Night of the Living Dead, but in a small town instead of just condensed to like one house kind of thing. You still get that classic zombiness to it, where you don't have the zombies running and everything. But this has Anthony Michael Hall, which is the only actor that I recognize from this film, especially recently with the Halloween remakes or remake trilogy, whatever you want to call it. We got Daryl Hannah, Shirley Jones, Alan Ruck, as well as Rachel G. Fox in here. It starts off with Anthony Michael Hall's character named Patrick basically trying to escape the city with his daughter. And they get stuck in a graveyard, and I love graveyards in my zombie films. I mean, they fit perfectly when the undead are rising from the graves and the tombs and everything. I love that look and that feel and that vibe, so that's already a guilty pleasure for me immediately. Now, of course, we have this legless zombie, which you can absolutely see the cheap effects that they made on it, where like they obviously used green screen on his legs to make them invisible, but the way he's grabbing onto the girl, you can totally tell that he's being pulled up on a wire and stuff like that. And it's just absolutely ridiculous looking, but it still has that graveyard charm, like I said. And then we have Daryl Hannah's character. She plays a woman named Birdie, and she ends up being the mom of the girl that the dad was with at the beginning, Anthony Michael Hall's character. I don't know if the parents are divorced or together, but I assume they're divorced because he was getting out of the city. This film does have some convoluted things in it that are kind of hard to follow, especially where characters end up and why they end up in the places that they do. It kind of just feels like they're bouncing from one set to another set to another set, and not a lot of things are explained. Like sometimes characters will just show up somewhere and you're like, where did they come from, how did they get there, kind of thing. It has a lot of that to it, so the flow of it is not always the most logic and doesn't always make the most sense. But if you're here for some cheap zombie actions, then it's pretty cool. So we have her character, Daryl Hannah, like I said, Birdie, living with her mom, Shirley Jones, and they just call her Nana. But apparently, Shirley Jones's character is blind. Doesn't add much to the plot. She has her eyes open the whole time, but she's always feeling around for everything, so she can't really see very well. It also looks like early stages of dementia. So she basically is not really all there. And then, like I said, this neighbor shows up into their townhouse, seemingly. I have no idea how this woman got into the upstairs room, but somehow she does. So I don't know if this is a townhouse that has other townhouses attached to it, where other neighbors can, like, there's doors and accesses to other people's homes kind of thing. I don't really understand it, but it is what it is. And then we have this character named Joe, and mostly Joe, but the wife is kind of bad too. These people are just selfish as fuck. They're basically neighbors with either Anthony Michael Hall or Daryl Hannah's character. So either Birdie or Patrick is neighbors with this Joe guy, and he's trying to protect his family, and he's basically waiting on Patrick and his daughter Tracy to show up to the house to because they have a safe room, they have like a panic room, and he's very quickly running out of patience. He wants to protect his family, but ironically, he puts them in the most danger by doing so and causes the most problems in the entire film. They have this woman staying with them. Now, I don't know if this woman is a babysitter or a maid, but she basically wants to get out of Joe's house because everything is boarded up from the windows to the doors, everything. There's no way out. And he's basically keeping her there hostage. She wants to get back to her family, but he won't let her. He locks this woman in the room where there's a window inside that room, so he bolts her in there, and there's a window right there with one board across the window. One board. And, of course, a zombie breaks through this board as soon as she tries to get out this window and then eats this woman to death. For a TV movie as well, I guess because this one is unrated, they have some pretty nasty gore effects. There is a lot of scenes with intestines and zombies digging right into people's stomachs and just ripping their insides out. It is a pretty gore-filled film. It is also the director of Feast, which, well, he did the trilogy, yeah. Feasts 1, 2, and 3, which are total splatterfests themselves, and the director of Piranha 3DD, which I didn't enjoy too much, that sequel, but yeah, it's not a director that has too much of a bad track record. And yeah, and then there's this small police story too. We follow some of the police officers of the town trying to like protect the town kind of thing. And it just follows these characters as they kind of intertwine with each other's lives. Tracy, Patrick, and Birdie at one point end up at Joe's house where he boarded up everything, and he's not letting them in even though he's known them his entire life and they've been like really close neighbors and friends. Because of his fear, he's keeping these people from entering the home and entering the panic room, even though it's quite easy to get them in the home and into the panic room with no danger at this point. But he's like, nope, I can't risk my family being hurt and everything. And like I said, ironically, I mean, his son dies. This little kid, Nathan, gets bitten, which I am going to talk about the bullshit of that scenario. He basically gets himself killed and everybody in the family killed other than his wife. And the little kid Nathan survives too. What's bullshit is that Nathan gets bit by this woman who he locked in that room with the one window, because she's eaten by a zombie and she turns into a zombie, and then eventually she's able to, for whatever reason, snatch Nathan as a zombie. She's a zombie and she snatches Nathan at the door, brings him into the room, and when they find Nathan, Nathan is being bitten on the neck by this zombie woman, who either was the maid or the babysitter. Like I said, I'm not sure which, but he's bitten really bad on the neck, and even when they go to the panic room, he's holding a cloth to his neck trying to stop the bleeding and everything. This kid doesn't turn. I understand they have to play these movies safe, and it's really hard to kill kids in these movies without, making everybody go, oh no, you killed a kid, how dare you? But it doesn't make a lick of sense why this kid doesn't turn after being bitten. Clearly bitten, and bitten pretty violently too. So they play the whole safe route with that. The kid survives at the end for no logical reason. And then we have Birdie's mom as well, played by Shirley Jones. She does not get bitten. She just basically, because she's blind, she trips over something and like hits her head or something and falls, and then she's discovered by Birdie and she's unconscious. And then she turns. So at no point was she bitten, let alone even near a zombie at all. Because she just goes from the couch, she's indoors all the time, no zombies come in before her death, so a zombie isn't even close to her, and she turns by falling, and so I guess just death makes you turn. It's kind of weird. The concept of the zombies only awaken at night is kind of cool, but again, they don't do a lot to explain why or why these things are happening, or how come, during the day at sunrise do the zombies just stop again or just go back to being dead. They don't explain any of this shit, which, I mean, I don't think the purpose of these films are to be that smart. They're just, like I said, dumb B movies that can still be fun for what they are. But yeah, that whole Nathan not dying. Not that I want to see Nathan die. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see a kid die. I'm not saying that. It'd be tragic, but it would make sense. Unless you explain a reason why he didn't. Like, just have him not be bit then or something. But just the fact that, I don't know, those small things bug me kind of thing, even with these movies. But other than the convolution and other than, the having things not explained, the pacing of the movie is actually pretty good, and the acting is like mid to low acting. It's not terrible by any means. Anthony Michael Hall and Daryl Hannah do the best with what they've got. The younger actors are the ones that struggle a little bit, but like I said, it's not embarrassingly bad by any means or anything. And the zombies look really, really good, in my opinion. And there's a lot of them, and there's definitely that danger in numbers kind of feel to this movie. And I like the settings. I like the settings that everybody ends up in, and this review is kind of going longer than I thought it was. I actually thought I was going to be talking about this film pretty brief. But yeah, for an Asylum zombie movie, I mean, you can't go wrong. It definitely has that classic feel, and it's fun. It's a fun kind of nostalgia piece on zombies, basically. It doesn't have all that modern, running zombies and evolved kind of infected kind of thing going on. You just have your classic risen from the dead zombie stuff going on, and it's pretty cool for that. So there's definitely a lot worse zombie films on the market. So Zombie Night from 2013 from Asylum, not too shabby whatsoever. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.